A lot of times in algebra, we're working with what are called polynomials. So this lesson's kind of a quick introduction to what polynomials are, and then we're going to be adding and subtracting them today. Evaluating, adding, and subtracting them. So real quick, a definition of what a polynomial is. A polynomial is made up of terms. So now let's define what terms is. Terms are basically the different pieces of an expression or of a polynomial. So for example, I gave you multiple polynomials over here. This is a term, these are terms, these are terms, these are terms. So it's what makes up an expression, and they're always kind of separated by addition or subtraction, like separated by subtraction, by addition, by subtraction. And polynomials have different names based on how many terms that they have. So I gave you 4 examples here. If it only has one term, I know there's multiple parts, there's a variable, there's a coefficient, but it's just one term, we call that a monomial. If it has 2 terms, we call that a binomial. If it has 3 terms, we call that a trinomial. And then if it has 4 or more, that's where mathematicians get a little bit lazy, and we just call that a polynomial. So when we use the word polynomial, it really encompasses all of these. All of these fall under a polynomial. Poly just means many parts. So starting out today, here we have a polynomial, specifically a trinomial. And these first two we're going to evaluate. Remember, evaluate means to find the value. So we can only evaluate when we know what the value of the variables are. So here we have the polynomial 2x squared minus 4x plus 6, but they tell us that the value of x is -4. So we can take that value and we can substitute it for a variable and then evaluate from there. So we have 2 times -4 to the second power minus 4 times -4 plus 6. It is perfectly fine to type this whole thing in your calculator exactly like you see it. I'm going to keep working here. -4 to the second power is 16. -4 times -4 is plus 16. If I multiply, I get 32 plus 16 plus 6. If we add left to right, we should get 54. Okay, on this next one, we have another trinomial, -x squared plus 2x plus 6. And this time the value of our x is +3. So I'm going to replace each of those x's with a +3. Be careful with the location of your parentheses here. Sometimes it's easier to go ahead and put kind of empty parentheses where you see a variable, and then just fill in the blank. So notice my negative goes on the outside. The only thing inside the parentheses are the value of the variable. Okay, so again, you could type it in your calculator from here, or we could keep working. We start with our exponents. That gives us 9. We keep the negative in front. Plus 2 times 3 is 6, plus 6. If we add and subtract left to right, we get -9 plus 6, which is -3. -3 plus 6, which is 3. But the majority of times when we're working with polynomials, we do not know the value of our variable. We're just trying to simplify or perform different operations of those polynomials. So on these next examples, we're going to be adding and subtracting. So when we add polynomials, adding polynomials is really nice because really all we're doing is combining like terms. So we have a trinomial here, a trinomial here, and really, I know they're written in parentheses, but if we think about the fact that it's like there's a +1 out in front, if we multiply by a +1, nothing's going to change. It's going to be exactly the same. So really, we could rewrite this just without the parentheses, and all we have to do is combine like terms. So we can put our x cubes together. 4x cubed plus 3x cubed gives me 7x cubed. This is our only x squared. There's nothing to combine that with, so I'm just going to put -9x squared. This is our only x, so I'm just going to bring down minus 2x. And then we can combine our numbers, a positive 8 and a negative 11. That's going to give me negative 3. So when we're adding and subtracting, if we don't know the value of the variables, we just simplify how we can. We just combine our like terms. We do have to be careful when we see subtracting polynomials. So when we're subtracting, this minus sign gets applied to everything inside that second parentheses. So it's probably easier if we just rewrite this after distributing that negative. My first parentheses is not going to change. My second one, if we distribute that negative, it's going to change all of our signs. So minus 3x squared minus 6x plus 4. Now if we combine our like terms, put our x squareds together, 5x squared minus 3x squared is 2x squared. Put our x's together, negative 2x minus 6x is negative 8x. Put our numbers together, positive 7, positive 4 is positive 11. We've combined all the like terms we can, so we stop there. All right, our last one here, we have addition and subtraction going on. So really the only thing that's going to change is this last polynomial there. We're going to have to distribute the negative. So I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite it. This stays the same, this stays the same. We're going to change our signs on that one. So we have 2x squared minus 4x plus 3 plus 5x squared minus 6x plus 1 minus x squared plus 9x minus 8. Now we're just going to combine our like terms. Let's put our x squareds together. So we have 2x squared plus 5x squared minus 1x squared. 2 plus 5 is 7, minus 1 is 6x squared. Our x's, we've got negative 4 minus 6, which is negative 10, plus 9, which is negative 1x, or negative x. And then our constants, we have 3 plus 1 minus 8. 3 plus 1 is 4, minus 8 gives me negative 4. So that is how we work with polynomials. We can evaluate them if we know the value of their variables, or we can also add and subtract them pretty much just by combining like terms.